What is a force? Forces are pushes and pulls. There are forces acting everywhere all the time. Every object in the world has something that is pushing or pulling on it. Forces always act between two objects. There wouldn't be any forces if there were only one object. Objects exert forces on each other whenever they push or pull each other. You can tell a force is acting when an object starts moving. You can also tell a force is acting when a moving object stops moving. Starting and stopping are evidence of forces. However, even when an object is sitting still, forces are acting on it. All the things happening in these pictures are happening because objects are exerting forces on each other. Touching forces. It's easy to see touching forces all around you. Just like the name says, touching forces happen when two objects touch each other. Objects exert forces on each other whenever they touch. Here are some examples of touching forces. A girl pushes a wheelbarrow. The push moves the wheelbarrow across the grass. When the wheelbarrow starts moving, it's evidence that the girl is exerting a force on the wheelbarrow. A girl pulls her baby sister on a sled. The pull moves the sled and the baby across the snow. When they start to move, it's evidence that the big sister is exerting a force on the rope. A bull pulls on a cart, and the cart moves along the road. When the cart starts to move, it's evidence that the bull is exerting force on the cart. A man pushes a shopping cart, and the cart moves across the floor. When the cart starts to move, it's evidence that the man is exerting a force on the cart. A man pushes his car, and the car slowly starts to move. He must exert a strong force to move the car. These people use paddles to push the water. When the paddles push the water, their boat moves forward. When the boat starts to move forward, it's evidence that the paddles are exerting a force on the water. Non-touching forces. Objects exert forces on each other when they are not touching. These are called non-touching forces. Here are some examples of non-touching forces. A non-touching force called gravity acts on this skateboarder, making him and his skateboard fall back down to the sidewalk after he jumps. A non-touching force called electrostatic force makes this boy's hair stand up and makes a little piece of paper stick to the balloon. You can see evidence of electrostatic force in these pictures. These toy pieces have magnets in them. The magnets exert a force on each other called magnetic force. Even when they are not touching, the two magnets pull together. The balls are not touching the magnet, but they still move. That's evidence of a non-touching force. A non-touching force acts on this girl, making her come back down to the sand every time she jumps.